Tim Legler. What's up, Tim?
What's going on, fellas?
Oh, man. Just 5-1. No big deal. Just exactly as we expected it.
5-1. You know when it's all said and done, you got a football team there that might be doing some special things this year. I know the Philly season didn't go and end the way you guys wanted it to, but you can't have everything, man. Can't have everything.
I wouldn't have minded having that Phillies run though. That one.
Oh,
hurt.
I know. I got a lot of friends that felt the same way. That October Red didn't quite materialize this year or Red October the way you normally would like it to. But here's the thing. Philadelphia has been one of the great stories in the league to this point, the Sixers. So they're just entertaining. This rookie has really captured people's imaginations with how ready he is, which you never know with a guy. You can see guys on film and look at physical traits and you try to project, but the truth is you don't know how ready a guy is for the moment and the stage until you actually see them playing in NBA games, and everybody moves at their own pace. Some guys never get there and live up to being a really high draft pick. Other guys hit the ground running immediately, as Edgecombe has, and other guys, it's a little bit of a rocky road, and eventually they find their way. And I think that's Cooper Flagg a little bit. I think his start in Dallas could be described like that. I think he's a can't-miss prospect, but he certainly hasn't been as good and as consistent as Edgecombe has been to start the year.
Yeah, so with Edgecombe, we can start right there and stay right there, Tim. Kyle couldn't be with us today. He was off today, but he did want to ask in this way. People were high on VJ coming into the season, of course, and being the third overall selection that is built in. But do you see anything structurally that has allowed him to thrive right away, and maybe something that he and the Sixers have gotten together to do to change things from Baylor to where he is right now?
Well, I don't think it's anything with his game because I watched a lot of film on him myself. I don't get to, unfortunately, watch a lot of regular season college basketball. So when I'm getting ready for the draft and then getting into summer league and calling games there, that's when I spend a lot of time on film work. And I'm looking at him. I don't think there's anything surprising me from a physical trait standpoint. I know what I was looking at. It looks a lot like this. I was impressed with his shooting mechanics, particularly the way he finished shots on film. That has translated to the NBA and from deep. That's a good sign. He stays with his shot really well. And most young players, they don't. They give up on their shot. They recoil their wrist too quickly. They don't extend and finish because everything's happening so fast. All the windows are tighter. Your opportunity to get off a shot on a closeout is just much shorter. So as a result, you tend not to finish shots mechanically the way that you would when you're just doing your own personal workouts. That's what the NBA does to young players. It speeds you up. He was not sped up early. When I saw him, he was not sped up on tape from college, from the little bit he played for the Sixers in summer league, and certainly in what I've seen and when I have seen whole games now of him in the NBA, that to me has jumped out to me. Man, this guy is so comfortable so quickly. It's gonna spell trouble for the league down the road for sure, because he's got all the athletic ability you would want. So then you say, well, is he refined? Does he have polish to his game? Or is he just another guy that's really athletic in a league full of great athletes? He's more than that. He's got refinement to his game with his shooting. He's got an incredible, comfortable feel about his demeanor that just is something you cannot know about a guy until you see him doing it out there for real. His confidence level's off the charts, and that's something that some guys take time to get.
Yeah, you mentioned his refinement, and I think a lot of people coming into the season expected, all right, he's going to defend hard, get out in transition, run the break, whatnot. But now he's making those catch and shoot threes. He's running the offense a little bit like he did more at the Bahama national team rather than at Baylor, where he was mostly off ball. I guess seeing how quickly he's able to adapt to that, how do you see the play between Maxey and VJ long term, and how do you think that benefits Maxey by being able to get him off ball a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, that's tremendous benefit to Maxey for sure. And you see that when he's out there, when he's been out there in the past, when Embiid's banged up, Paul George's not playing, and the load on Tyrese Maxey and just the amount of usage that he has, and it wears him down. And look, he's not a great defender. I think he wants to be a committed defender, and he doesn't really, he's not a guy you look at for his defense. And when he's got usage rate that high, then his defense even becomes more of an issue because it's just impossible to have the stamina that you need. So just from a stamina standpoint, staying fresher, I think being a better defender, and then just being better offensively because he doesn't have to do it every trip, a tremendous benefit to him. And what I'm seeing out of those two guys right now is it looks like a genuine friendship has taken place and a mutual respect. And of course, you're going to expect Edgecombe to have respect for Maxey. You don't know how quickly a rookie's going to get respect back from a player on Maxey's level. That looks apparent from the very beginning. And that tells you what Maxey's looking at every day in camp, leading into the preseason and leading into the regular season. Like he's seeing it. Like this kid's got something special. They look like they've got tremendous chemistry. And when you have that kind of mutual admiration for each other, mutual level of respect, then you can really accomplish a lot of things because egos won't get in the way. Nobody's going to be dismissive or overly critical. You're going to just go out there and expect great things every night. And when you play that free, you can see what can happen. The start that these two guys have had offensively playing together.
Tim Legler joining us here on the PHLY Sixers podcast. And Tim, when we played last week, your conversation on the All City NBA podcast with Adam about Joel Embiid and where you believe him to be, at least right now, playing with these young guys and the speed in which they're playing, the cohesion that they have. Well, Maxey certainly has that with Joel Embiid, but right now it's a different version of Joel Embiid. So what have you seen from Joel, how he can incorporate with them where it doesn't take away from the dynamic things that we have seen from them so far?
Yeah, I mean, I just think that he's a guy that, and however long, this is going to last, where you kind of see him for limited minutes and not even every night. And I don't know what the ultimate long-term plan is for that, the viability of that and the effect on your team's rhythm. He's still, it's funny because I don't think he can really move that well laterally and he doesn't jump very much anymore at all. And maybe it's by design. Maybe he's trying not to jump to take any more pounding on his lower body. But the last time I saw him play, it was pretty evident to me in the Washington game. Like he just laterally and then vertically really struggling. But the irony is he can still score on just about anybody because he's so massive. He's got great touch, great feel. He still knows how to draw fouls. So for the time that you're going to see him right now, the limited amount of time, that's going to be more of a half-court game for your team, which doesn't, to me, suit the other guys we've been talking about. Even if you want to throw like a Kelly Oubre and a Quentin Grimes into the mix, those guys want to get out and run. The four of them want to treat this almost like a relay team in track. Like that's how they want to play. And Embiid's not playing that way. So you're going to have to utilize him for what he does well when he's on the floor. If he's going to play 20 or 25 minutes a night, and he's going to do it not every night, then when he is out there, he's going to have to get a steady dose of the ball in the spots he likes it, the elbows and some back to the basket stuff. And obviously he's going to shoot the occasional three. And you make him the focal point while he's out there, but it's not going to be the breakneck pace that you're seeing when he's off the floor. So they're going to have two different styles. I think that supporting cast clearly wants to get out of gates and go run. So let's see with a larger sample size, ultimately what the impact is on this group.
I think on the defensive side of the floor, the other side outside of Joel Embiid, just not to this point. We'll see what he has left in the future. To this point, shutting down holes like he did earlier in his career has been getting back in transition. They really struggled at various points. I guess, what have you seen in the games that you've watched there? And like, what's the easiest way to go about fixing that?
Well, yeah, I do agree with that. I think part of the thing I think people need to take in consideration when a team is shooting the ball this well, playing this well offensively, this kind of pace, this kind of success rate, it does sort of affect your defense, right? When you're scoring at a really high rate, the likelihood that you're going to get scored upon a little bit quicker is very, very high. And so that's part of it. They've been so good offensively in pushing the pace that they're going to have it pushed back at them some too in games. And you're going to kind of look at that. But to me, I wouldn't worry about it as much. I do think there are teams in this league that can be competitive being average defensively. Now, can you win it? Can you make a legitimate run all the way through your conference and get to the finals? If you're just a mediocre team or below average team defensively, that's going to be hard to do. History tells you that. So, but can you be competitive every night? If you are so good offensively, yeah, you can, despite the fact that you're not a great defensive team, because, in this league, as open as the flow is now, a lot of it is getting to a certain number every night. And so far, so good for Philly, 125 points a night.
Yeah, so when you look at that, Tim, last one for me, when George and McCain and even Barlow come back and you look at the five of Embiid, George, Oubre, Maxey, and Edgecombe, let's say that's the five, and then off the bench you have McCain, Grimes, Barlow, Watford, and Bona. Do you look at that at least until the trade deadline? We have no idea what's going to happen there. But because of the way that they have started, the slow starts for New York and even Orlando and Atlanta, who are, of course, projected to be up at the top. Same thing with Cleveland, who the Sixers will see on Wednesday. Do you see them, at least right now, with the breakneck pace that they're playing, with the two different styles, even with Embiid, because he can score, where they have enough depth to compete right now and maybe maintain something right there in that top six to stay competitive in the Eastern Conference?
I think so. And I think, you're talking about the two guys that you don't see out there right now, McCain and Paul George. Add them to the mix, and you have 7 guys that you fully trust in terms of their game. Now, do you fully trust if Joel Embiid is going to stay healthy? Of course not. Do you fully trust that Paul George is when he comes back? Of course not. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about just guys from a talent standpoint and looking at rotational players in this league. You've got 7 guys that you trust. Like Maxey, Edgecombe, Oubre, Grimes, Embiid, Paul George, and McCain. There's 7. So now on a given night, it's 2 or 3 other guys, and it's not always going to be the same guys. Maybe it's Watford, maybe it's Barlow, maybe it's Eric Gordon. Some nights gets hot. It's him. Maybe it's Andre Drummond, Bona. So it's not always the same. It's going to be mix and match for those last 2 to 3 spots that play every night. And most coaches want to play 9 players. They want to play 9 guys, rotational, regular minutes. And then a lot of nights that 10th guy will get you like 8 minutes. Right? But most coaches, it's really 9. I just named 7 that they believe in terms of talent. So now of those next 3, 4 guys, you only got to play a couple a night. So yes, I do think that's enough. Question is, can they get them back, and can everybody feel in rhythm once everybody's back? That is a much harder thing to pull off, especially with some of the early success that some of these guys are getting, because there's more shots, more minutes, more touches, more freedom. Some of that stuff gets shrunk. Can they still stay in the same rhythm once they're all out there and you add a couple more ball dominant guys to the mix?
All right, last one from me here, Tim. And I feel like at times we can take Tyrese a little bit for granted, but obviously he's having a career start to the season, 34 points, 9 assists. I guess how much of his improved play do you think is the context around him being better, like tougher to trap, a lot more talent around him, more shooting around him, other ball handlers? And how much is him taking another step as a player, and especially it seems like as a playmaker?
I think for me, it's the threats around him. And I think that he's got a joy and an energy right now about him. I mean, last year had to be demoralizing for him. Yeah. So many nights being out there by himself and feeling like they just didn't have enough. Mm-hmm. And that beats on you when you're a young player. Because I'm not seeing anything dramatically different out of him. I mean, to me, he's been this talented in my eyes for like a year and a half, 2 years. So I'm not surprised the numbers. I think the opportunity to have this kind of start is directly attributed to the way guys are playing around him and the starts that Edgecombe has had, that Oubre has had, that Grimes has had. The threats on the floor and the way that defenses have to naturally shift toward that because they're being hurt in other places is going to give him more freedom and space. And if you give a guy like Tyrese Maxey that's got that kind of electric athletic ability and speed and burst, more time and space because the defense is dealing with some other things, finally, then this is what you get. Because he's just that talented. He's that good. He makes you pay for any gap and seam in the defense. When you combine it with that deep shooting off the dribble, this is what it looks like at its highest level. So I'm not shocked by him doing this when you look at what these other guys are doing to create more opportunities for him against a single defender.
And we've talked about how just it's the improvement of his playmaking. It's been big for year number 6 to see how he has evolved into that type of playmaker where we look up and say, oh, he had 13 assists tonight. Just no big deal.
Well, 2 things with that. Number 1, guys are making shots.
Yeah.
So that helps, right? If you want to get assist numbers, then you better finish this play. I think he was there were times he was limited as a playmaker because he didn't trust necessarily plan B, plan C, plan D down his roster. So it was more about him doing it himself. And now you become inefficient as a player. You have more nights where you're under 40% from the field. And that's not what you were used to with Tyrese Maxey. Now you got guys making shots all over the floor, playing fast. He can throw advanced passes, which now, a lot of times you throw that advanced pass, guy catches it, one dribble into a shot, one dribble into a layup. Those are assists. Yeah. So he's getting advanced pass assists as well because he trusts who he's throwing it to up the floor. So I just think that it's opened up his confidence level in his teammates. And because I think it was always in there, but he couldn't play the way he's playing now and keep them in games. It's a little bit different now. So look, man, like I said, they've been one of the best stories in the league. They've been incredibly fun to watch. And they got, for as far as I'm concerned right now, the way Maxey and Edgecombe particularly have started the year, I got them circled on my league pass every night.
Nice, man. Tim, well, make sure you check out Tim. Often there every day at the All NBA podcast, ALLCITY_NBA with Adam Mares as they talk around the NBA on everything. And they certainly talk about the Sixers a lot because they're off to this 5-1 start. And also on ESPN. Tim, what's the schedule for you this week on the call? What do you have for us?
Yeah, so I got a good one, man. I'm excited. I'll leave tomorrow for LA. We got the San Antonio Spurs visiting the Lakers on Wednesday night. Ooh. I will be on that call with my partners, Mike Breen and Richard Jefferson. So I'm really looking forward to, I saw Wemby last year once in person, and it was at Oklahoma City, and he did not attempt a field goal in the second half of the game, and I think he had 6 points. So I felt like, and they got blown out. So I felt like I really didn't see Wemby. Right. That was my only shot to see him in person. So obviously the start to this year for him has been incredible. And their start has been incredible as a team. Lakers also now playing really, really well. So, yeah, I can't wait. Wemby, Luka, Austin Reeves all on the court at the same time. Looking forward to it.
I'll be watching. We'll be watching, checked in, and everybody in the chat is loving the visit, Tim. So we might as well tell them that you're going to be on a couple of times this year. So everybody, if you like this, Legs will be back throughout the year as we talk about the Sixers and hopefully being a contending team in the Eastern Conference once again. A lot of positive things to talk about. Legs, thanks so much for sharing the time with us, man. We'll catch up with you, and we'll be checking in on Lakers Spurs with you on later this week. Thanks, man.
Anytime.